It has been the longest off-season of SRA. The rust has been wiped off and the cars are revved up and ready to go. Welcome to SRA.
We're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, Sim Racing Alliance. Welcome to Season 8, Race 1 in Zandvoort. I'm your host, Caden, joined here this season by Jerry. What's going on, Jerry? Oh, living the dream, ready for another jam-packed season with sim racing. Can't wait to get into it. Exactly. After commentating D4 last season, it's going to be nice to watch some racing that's a little closer to my speed. These guys are definitely a lot faster. Keeping an eye on some of the times going on tonight, but you know D4 was really out there. Hopefully, you can pull a few more things away from D5, but. Season 8, really exciting. We had a great season last year, going into an amazing season. Hopefully this season here, the track list is absolutely amazing. Starting with Zandvoort here, looks like it's gonna be a fun course for a lot of these guys. No, I was gonna say. I was gonna say I don't have any experience whatsoever on this track, but um, kind of judging off the conglomerate, the great old OBDA. Gotta always give those guys a shout out. It seems like exactly what you were saying. A really technical track, hard to memorize. Just looking at the track map here. Um, a technical course, a lot of, not really normal corners, a couple of switchbacks, you got a couple of hairpins in there, but especially, what is that, turn 15, I think? Oh, sorry, turn 11 and 12 there look like an especially difficult part of the track there where it kind of makes a little spoon. Definitely going to be interesting to see drivers go over that because I imagine that's a very quick section that goes to that tight spot there. So it's going to be interesting to see passing opportunities and other things that arise from it. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough track. Always fun to see a little bit more of these technical tracks. Really brings out a lot in drivers. It becomes not as much of what the car can do, but really trying to hold on to that car for the hour time period that we have for our races here. And trying to keep that, especially through some of these technical, going side by side, into some of these technical breaking points can definitely be a huge thing. I believe so. I'm not 100% sure on the time.
Yeah, I think it'll be if we. It's the same as we did last season. It's free practice, and then 2 hours after free practice is qualifying. Then 2 hours after qualifying is the race. So let's see what time it is here. Yep, it is 2 p.m. now. So that means during the race it will be 4 p.m. So it's going to be hot. Track is going to be pretty hot today. Not very much darkness, and of course it's not a rain event. So there will be no rain to put on the track either. So drivers are going to have to watch those temps and not push too hard to cook those tires up as they're lining up here to the qualifying. Keep in mind, we do have an extra minute now for the silver drivers to get their setups prepared and line up here at the pit line.
Yep, it was definitely a really nice change that they made last season and doing that, where they gave the silver drivers, like you were talking, that extra minute there, just to queue up, get out, get ready, and just allow them the time that the gold drivers had previously.
Yeah. For sure. And honestly, it's nice to see so many Lamborghinis on the field here. I know back in the day they used to be so unheard of, but now with that new Lamborghini, we're seeing a lot of them these days as people are getting more and more familiar with the new cars.
Yeah, it's definitely a massive switch up from last season. In fact, looking at the field right now, I'm seeing 3 Ferraris, which is a complete flip and turnaround from last season, where it was pretty much, I don't remember the exact percentage. I think it was something like 55% of drivers were in the Ferrari, and the season before that, the Aston Martin was the top dog out on the field. But it definitely looking like the Lamborghinis and maybe McLaren is making a comeback. I know Mercedes became a bit popular over.
Yeah, they got the new McLaren, so a lot of people are running the McLaren. Mercedes has always been good, just consistent. I feel like a lot of the drivers who are driving Mercedes now have always driven Mercedes. They know the car and how to use it, and it's good enough that their skill is going to trump whoever's running the new Ferrari or the new McLaren or the new Lamborghini, just because they've used that car so much.
Exactly. Definitely gonna be interesting. It's definitely more spread out. I'll be interested to see when everything gets submitted, as to what's the popular car this season. Because it's definitely, I mean, just looking at the spread we have here, BMWs, Ferraris, or sorry, not Ferrari, Lamborghini and McLaren seem to be the top contenders right now.
Where are the Porsches?
That's what
There's
I'm
no.
wondering.
What is going on, dude? I remember when Porsche used to be the top car to pick, and now there's no Porsches, and I'm kind of sad because I like Porsches. I really do. They're a cool looking car, and they drive like different from the whole rest of the pack, so you can do some crazy stuff with it. But we're not seeing any of those today.
Yeah, there is no Porsches on the field right now. I'm combing through. and there's absolutely nothing. I do kind of wonder, after last season, I know there was a lot of tracks that we ended up racing that were not very friendly to the Porsche, and I wonder if that scared some of our drivers off this season of driving it again, just of the fear that, you know, it just wouldn't work out
They
for them.
punished again. Yeah, you're definitely right, and it's just a really shocking sight to see no Porsches on the field there. But I really do feel like a lot of people are taking advantage of those new cars in this season, being able to use them fresh and after they've kind of learned the ins and outs of them and practice with them for a pretty long time now. The DLC has been out for at least a few months now, so yeah, these drivers are going to be more comfortable with what they're in. And we're
Yeah.
seeing the first times come through right now. We got Olhausen coming in, set in a 137.4, and Enrique, is that how you pronounce that?
I think it's
And
Enriquez.
Cumber coming in with 37.5, 37.9, respectively. And yeah, we have the times coming in here, and it looks like we got some 37s here coming near the top 5 here, and some other qualifying is just kind of filling out the bottom here. We still got a while to go for the silvers. They have over half their time to qualify and set a better lap here.
Yeah, absolutely. I was monitoring for a little while. There was definitely some sweaty boys, not gonna call them out, that were driving probably an hour and a half, 2 hours before the race, and seemed to be pretty consistent. But I was seeing some 36s from the pack earlier as things were warming up. So we'll see if we can break down into it.
No, you're definitely right about that, and like keep in mind this was their first lap across the line for a lot of them, so we're going to see those times improve. And right now, Cumber coming in with the 36 you were talking about there. Johnston was close for a second, but got booted off by Cumber and Olhausen, coming in at the first and second spot. A lot of these names here are very, very new to me into the scene. I remember some from last season. I remember Stephanie Fisher. The Last Rise, Hal McDonald, but there's a lot of new names in D5 here that I do not recognize, and we'll kind of see their performance here throughout the season.
Yeah, definitely have to keep an eye on all these guys. You know, you've definitely got the veterans that you recognize from either being in their division or seasons past, you know, or just, you know, someone that's active in the community. That you notice, and it's always interesting, especially first race of the season here. Everyone's still kind of warming up and getting ready, so we'll definitely start to see a lot more of the personalized battles, and you know, a lot more activity from the community as we move forward in the next couple of races. It's always a fun part to the start of this.
Yeah, we'll get the names memorized. We'll get the contenders down, and then after this season, those people will become veterans and be able to show the new guys how it's done.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially some of these guys that we don't recognize, regardless if they're coming in as their first season into SRA, already being in D5 is huge. I know when I started here, I was immediately at the very bottom of the bottom of the bottom when it came. But some of these people have been sim racing for a long time, whether that's in this league or others, and have several hours in AC. But always fun to watch some of the newbies or underdogs throughout the season. Some of them can really surprise you.
Really start improving. I mean, for me, I started on controller, and I wasn't the best, but I started in D5, you know, so I was at least a little bit competent. But then I got a wheel, and I wasn't really the best at the wheel. But I was still D5, and then just kind of over time improving a little bit, I wasn't able to make it into D4, but that was last season where I kind of dropped out mid-season due to some personal stuff and my teammate getting demoted. So, but maybe I'll come back and try and improve. But really, I'll probably just keep it to casual races and some multi-class mayhem and stuff like that. Just, you know, I got other stuff in my life I got to deal with right now, and trying to beat myself over some sim racing is not on high on my list right now. But there are a lot of drivers who, you know, they do really well in D5 and jump 2 or 3 divisions sometimes. So it's kind of a proving grounds and a way to test their skill against other drivers that are in a safe area. So.
Yeah, especially some of these drivers definitely seem to unload their sandbags pretty quickly into the season.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of some sandbags, we got Rogers coming in with a 36-2 right here, beating out Olhausen by a good half a second, and Cumber, who has went into the pits and stopped qualifying. Those are the podium finishers right now for qualifying, and Swan in the last rise. Both drivers who have competed in the past coming in with about maybe very, very close times to each other, but about 0.7 from the leader here, coming in 4th and 5th. And yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any other names that are recognized. And Thomas Greer I recognize. I don't know if I said him before. Michael Jeffries, I also recognize him.
Big name in SRA right there.
Yeah, I do remember Jeffries. He didn't he have a legendary video when he won? What was it? What division did he win? Or no, maybe that was somebody else. I don't know, but somebody had a legendary exit interview, and I think it was Jeffries. I'm not sure. I don't know, but somebody refresh me on that, because I forgot. They had an exit interview that was very, very legendary, and I want to think it's Jeffries, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not ringing a bell to me. But...
Yeah, I don't know. It was one of the big names that he just went on there and said some stuff and got off. It was some pretty funny stuff. So now the gold drivers are going to be going out here. Silver drivers are finishing up their laps. There's just a couple of them that are still out here. And yeah, the gold drivers should be technically setting some better times here, but the silver drivers have already set some pretty good times, so we'll see how many of the golds will be able to break into that, and if we'll get a new podium here in just a little bit.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a toss-up, especially last season with D4 commentating, watching those guys. It was crazy some of the times the silver splits were setting over the gold.
Oh yeah. Well, some of the sandbags, you know, kind of get removed a little bit early, like you were saying, and what happens is that the silver, maybe about a couple races in, they'll kind of get shifted to gold, and when they do, they lose their points. So some of these racers are definitely going to be not very happy when they're going to get bumped up in another division because they decided to put some sandbags on during qualifying and whatnot.
Yeah, it's one of those that you kind of pay for your own mistake with those, and you know, just to play the other side of that game. You know, some of these tracks, you know, you always have tracks that you vibe with or you don't. And, you know, qualifying could be one of those that just does not set well with you. You don't set a great time, but then you hop on a track like this, and it's one of those that clicks with you. But I really put down some. It's all.
Yeah, this track, I don't think anybody favorites this track. I mean, I don't know anybody who likes this. I mean, not necessarily likes, but like, I'm sure there's people who like this track, but I don't know anybody this is their go-to track. You know, like, it's always like, okay, Zandvoort, all right. You know, I mean, some people, they really like Lego de Sega or Paul Ricard or something like that, but, or, you know, Brands Hatch, just more tracks that are more popular, or more known for certain features, but everybody kind of gets about Zandvoort, and I don't think anybody's got it as their favorite, but if somebody does, prove me wrong.
say, going through and not seeing any times yet here. We should be seeing those before too long for our.
Yeah, everybody's still on their outlap here. I'm looking at Hal McDonald right now. He is a guy that's, sorry, not Hal McDonald, Harold McDonald, that I remember from the last 2 seasons, I believe. And he is a very aggressive racer. He is going to take an opportunity when he sees it. So we'll kind of see how that turns out for him in qualifying here and into the race.
That can definitely be one of those strategies that either pays off big time or really regret. It's one of those that, being an aggressive driver, you see a gap, you take a gap. It doesn't work as much as I would like to see it. Sometimes the gap.
Yeah, well, even too, with the stewarding, there's sometimes if you cause an incident, you could set yourself back 10 seconds, which can drop you back, position you just gained and other positions as well. So you really got to be careful to make sure you don't cause any incidents. And sometimes that aggressive driving, it can pay off, but if it doesn't, you could be stuck with the short end of the stewarding stick.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely a tough call being aggressive out there. At the end of the day, it is definitely racing, and we're not all out here on a nice Sunday drive. But that has personally been the toughest thing for me to really learn is just the control of being able to say, all right, we an hour-long race. We don't need to win it all in a minute, and really trying to bring back a little bit.
Yeah, we want to make sure we're being safe and respectful to fellow drivers, especially on lap 1 here. But during qualifying, I mean, you need to make sure you're giving space to other drivers, and so far, I think everybody's going to give him some good space. But as you were saying before, there's not really anybody who's breaking into the top 7. The closest is as I was saying that Lindo broke into position 6, and Galladino is P8. But nobody's really breaking into the podium here, and Rogers is still holding with a 36-1.
Yeah. If last season was anything to say about it, we did have silver starts a couple of times, but really what breaks the gold from the silver drivers is not necessarily hot lap times, but the consistency difference. Even within the splits of it can be absolutely huge. Sometimes the gold drivers may not be as quick, but they can put that consistent fast lap down over and over and over again, even through tire wear and just the exhaustion and droll that starts happening after running the same lap over and over and over again, that can really set them ahead.
Yeah, and it is about that consistency a lot of the times too, but sometimes you do have to kind of go for that pass to gain that position over the other driver. But in an hour-long race, consistency is key, and the pit stop execution is another huge factor in whether drivers are going to be able to come out in an ahead position or not.
Exactly. The pit stops are always a huge kind of toss-up. Some of those that you just absolutely blow by. I feel like we've all done it at some point. Overshot, had to back up a little bit. I've known people that end up forgetting to put it back in first and end up launching out of the pit box in reverse. And a pit stop can make up a lot more than what you would think just on a piece of paper. It is the same for everyone, but the execution really is where it comes down to the.
Yeah, because even 1 second of a misstep in the pit box can cost you a position if you're really close. So undercutting somebody in the pits is a really good strategy to do if you can do it.
Especially if you're having to yield to other drivers coming out of, down the straight or what have you. Well, obviously they're supposed to yield to you, but ideally you're both, aware that the other driver's there, coming out in the pack, especially if it's a train of drivers. We definitely saw an uptick of drivers taking an early pit to get out of the kind of thing, but it can definitely turned into some interesting races.
Yeah, because if you get blue flagged early because you pit early, you're still going to have to yield within 1 lap to that faster driver who's on an earlier lap than you. But you did mention something about the pit lane there, and we do have some pit lane rules I've heard from stewarding that we need to make sure you're in the lines for the pit entry and pit exit. You got your tires in the lines.
Is that a complete thing this season? I know last season they would do it per track.
Yeah, I think it's dependent on track, but on Zandvoort, I'm pretty sure we're enforcing it. You have to make, from the stewarding team, you have to make an effort to keep your tires within the lines, and it's by the steward's discretion whether that effort was enough or not.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Especially coming down some of these faster corners where you go way wide and then diving right back in again can definitely create some unwanted.
Yeah, well, it's just hard because the line. Yeah, the lines exiting and coming into the pit lane they're meant to be there for a reason, but sometimes too it's like, you don't want to be unpredictable when you're coming out or you're going into the pit lane. So that's what those lines are there for.
Absolutely, but taking a look back over at our times, it looks like Rigatoni is leading out the gold drivers right now with a 136.3. Still has not passed
nice.
Rogers up at a 136.1 with 32 seconds left in qualifying right now. We'll see if any of these drivers are able to pass that up. Taylor is following close behind Rigatoni by about 0.02 seconds. Looks like he's trying to drop any of that time off that he possibly can, but we may.
Well, he's got a couple milliseconds up though on his current lap time. So if he gets that, he's going to beat out Rogers actually if he's able to complete this lap.
Yeah, that's always the big kind of toss up. You always see people's deltas going up or down, but I mean you can lose several tenths in a bad corner so quick.
Oh yeah. Well, he's up 3 tenths right now. Oh, sorry. Oh, he actually dropped down. I don't know what happened there. What happened? Whoa. Did he run out of fuel?
I don't know. Looks like he just slowed down and stopped.
He ran out of fuel there. I think he ran out of fuel. He was up by 3 tenths.
That is extremely unfortunate. Yeah,
Yeah, he's out of fuel. Yep, he had to go back. That is unfortunate. He's probably banging his head against the keyboard or the wheel right now because, wow. He was up by 3 tenths there. He was about to take the P1 spot away from Rogers there. Oh, man, that must hurt. That would really hurt, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rigatoni's going to take second there. And I remember Rigatoni from last season as well. He's a great driver as well. But yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I've seen people run out of fuel at the end of races, but never something like that. That's definitely a first.
That is unfortunate. Well, it looks like we're going to have a good spread of golds and silvers kind of mixed up in the front here. A lot of familiar faces that I've seen, but this Rogers guy, newcomer, he seems like he's crazy fast. And we'll kind of see if he's going to be able to hold that here and hold that lead, because sometimes what'll happen is the first place will just kind of pull ahead and just dominate the pack, but with how close Rigatoni was and how close Taylor would have been if he would have had enough fuel to finish that lap, I mean, he's going to have his run for his money coming for first year.
Definitely going to be interesting to watch out, because exactly like you were saying, I've seen it before where second place just pulls straight ahead, either immediately or within the first couple of laps. But, getting a first look at our liveries for this season, definitely a lot of created. Haven't mentioned that we actually have a theme this season that is nature. A lot of people following along with some of that, just like Rogers B. I think even his team name is something to do with a lambda bean. I can't say it. Lamborghini, but definitely a lot of themed liveries. I really like the idea of having a theme every season. It gives people something to go out for, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like the nature theme. It was pretty nice. I designed one livery for it. It was actually about pretty much they said go ham with like the creativity of it. They just want it to be about human nature. So I was like, okay, human nature is kind of a concept. So what I did is I made it into like a werewolf thing, as in like human nature is like a monster, you know?
Right.
So I had like a full moon on there and some like claw marks and stuff. So it was kind of out there and kind of wild, but I feel like that was a really creative way to do that. But I've seen a lot of really good liveries here. Just kind of using either like flowers or vines or just other things as well, making the car just really kind of take a more green approach. And I don't mean EVs.
It definitely is nice and a huge switch up over what liveries generally are with the nature theme. It really makes people reach out and think a little outside of the box for it, which is great. But we are out on our parade lap here, coming around. Letting all these drivers get warmed up, or always interesting. You know, most of the time this lap is just fueled by adrenaline um, and you know, it seems like an hour long before you get back around and get to start racing.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so with the Jeffries, I think there's two Jeffries. I think there's a D3 Jeffries and there's a D5 Jeffries.
Okay.
So I think that's where I was kind of getting a little confused there because I'm pretty sure D3 Jeffries won previously. But I don't think that's the same Jeffries we have here because that doesn't make sense. If he won in a different division and then here he's in D5 all of a sudden. So I think there's two Jeffries. That's where I'm kind of getting confused here. So if anybody earlier was kind of a little bit confused as I was, I think there is two Jeffries.
Definitely would have confused me too. I wonder if there's a relation there.
I'm not sure since we have like 5 Allens who are not related to each other. So, but again, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just Michael Jeffries is just trying out D5 now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really see how that would be allowed, but you know, who knows?
Yeah, I'm not. Maybe he just loaded up the sandbags like a bunch or something. I don't know. I just names confuse me. But anyways, going on here, people are in the out lap warming up their tires, getting their positions confirmed here. It is 4:05 p.m. Track is pretty hot. Sun and clouds all day. Ready to go.
They coming down the final straight here. We are getting ready to go for season 8, race 1. Always an exciting time. The first and last races are definitely always ones to really watch out for. It's always a pleasure watching first race of the season. But here we go. Just saw the green light. We'll see as these drivers come across. Definitely, with every new season, we're going to see a lot of people spreading out here pretty quickly.
Looks like Rogers is able to hold the lead here coming out of turn 1 and turn 2. Brigatoni and Taylor battling it out for P2 right now.
Yeah, we had a
looks like
pretty
Taylor
big
is able to
pile-up.
take the second spot right there. Brigatoni bumped down here. The line is starting to form here. A lot of positions being changed out. I don't think any hang. Oh, kind of near the back there is a little bit of an accident. I feel somebody went off the track a little bit.
Looks like we had a decent sized pile up around turn 1, which is definitely somewhat expected. in a race. Always unfortunate to see, so early on, but looks like we
Yeah,
have several drivers affected by that. We've got Barnes out in the grass right now. Looks like we've got a couple of people that are sliding and going around. Rigatoni slid out and hit a wall.
ooh, no.
So it is now
Rigatoni's going to
Rogers
fall all the
and
way down there. That is unfortunate to see right there. That's going to kind of lighten up Rogers and Taylor there to kind of have free battle there for P1.
yeah, definitely turning out to be a big battle coming into here. Already seeing that it's going to be a very technical course. We're seeing a lot of accidents throughout.
Ooh, oh no.
Several car
Big
pileup.
pile up here over by the little lip you were talking about earlier. You were mentioning how that was going to be a dangerous corner, and it did turn out to be dangerous here on lap 1. A lot of cars bumping into each other right there.
Well, we'll see how the race progresses, but that was definitely a bit rough of a start to our lap 1. We have most of our drivers passing over the line, getting their first times in for the race. But we're still having drivers spin out. Looks like we have several drivers dipping into pits right now. I'm sure to fix a lot of the damage that they've
encountered.
Looks like the last rise is off in the grass. Coming around that same corner we were talking about a little bit
He's
ago.
looking for a safe place to join there. Very good by him. Yeah, with that pit window, though, we have a 55-minute pit window, which allows drivers to get that pit out of the way early, but does set them behind for blue flags, having to yield to drivers that are on a higher lap than them. So they have to keep that in mind as well here. And as I was saying before, Rogers and Taylor are now just kind of in their own league here, with Ennis coming up by almost a full second behind them in third.
Definitely something to keep an eye out for. I always love some of these battles that you know are gonna last for a little bit. You kind of bounce back and forth, but still come back to it. This is definitely, as they're pulling away, just gonna turn into an endurance thing for these drivers staying away. But looks like we have 2 drivers in the pits right now. I'm sure fixing some of the damage that we saw, some of them taking around turn 1 and turn 11 there. Definitely a brutal section of the track as we come back around it with Rogers and Taylor here.
Yep, for sure. Still keeping an eye out in the first couple of spots here. Looks like nothing's really changing too much. Hal McDonald able to pull up a couple positions here. He is now in P4, and looking at the stats, he's gained 6 positions since the beginning of the race. And I know I was talking about how he was a really aggressive driver here, and it's kind of paying off for him as he's gained 6 positions and is not spun out yet. So, very good.
Definitely one of those that it's those strategies that you have to know how to put in very consistently. You can't. It's a tough strategy to learn and to stay and be able to judge those situations. But obviously, as we're seeing, it really pays off being able to gain that many positions so early on in the race. I mean, we're not even 5 minutes in, and he's already.
Well, we'll see if he can hold it and if he'll get any penalties later on, because that's going to decide a lot too. Because even right now, if he gets one score penalty, that's going to put him back 10 seconds, and that puts him back to almost P12, P13 if they all finish right now. So even with one penalty, all those positions could be just erased. So he just got to make sure that all of his passes are clean as well.
Yeah, looks like Taylor is rolling up just a little bit on Rogers here. We do have a...
Ooh, no, Cumber has went sideways on the track here, trying to get back on, dropping quite a few positions from P6, I think, all the way down. It's unfortunate there. Okay, as you were saying, Rogers and Taylor still fighting it out here, and Rogers just does not want to give that up.
Like, we have more accidents here. We've got another 3-4 car pileup. Have our drivers trying to get back on the track here. Always unfortunate to see, but that corner is definitely going to be the killer of this race.
Yeah, it is an unfortunate corner there, and like you were saying before, being consistent with all turns of the track is going to be able to make these drivers take what they need and take it home.
Absolutely. It looks like Taylor is starting to try to make a bit of a move on Rogers. He was right up on his tail,
Ooh.
trying to come by. It looks like Rogers managed to pull a little bit, but Taylor is not giving up on this first place position.
Yeah, there's a heavy braking zone followed by that slight curve here. Taking a little bit wide there, and yeah, they're all just filtering out here. Taylor, he's looking for that opening, trying to get it, but Rogers is just too consistent right now. I think between these two, it's really going to come between pit timings.
Yeah, it absolutely can, or as we've been seeing with some of these other drivers, it seems like a very easy track to mess up, but it looks like Taylor's going to pull out and try to get the opening on the round turn 1 there, which he manages to pull off beautifully.
Oh, wow. That was crazy right there, wow. I would try and do the replay so I could look back at it, but I'm afraid it's going to freeze my race control because it's been doing that recently. But oh, Hal making a move on Enos there and gaining a position as well here.
Yeah,
So yeah, some huge upsets over here. Not even 10 minutes into the race here, and we've got P1 dethroned, and Hal McDonald is now in the podium as well. So some pretty big upsets here, and I remember Rigatoni. Rigatoni's now sitting at 34th, but he is going to be moving his way up slowly past these slower drivers here.
Yep, looks like we had another little upset back right ahead of Rigatoni there, which will definitely help him. But Rigatoni is definitely in that role of just hot lapping alone right now. Which is some of the hardest parts of the race. It looks like Barrage is spun out and has some pretty significant damage to the front of his car.
Yeah, that hood is not looking too good, my friend. You can see it with his turning ability too. It's not able to take those turns nearly as much as he wanted to. So much damage right there.
Oh,
Moorhead also going off. Oh no!
For second and third there, it looks like he T-boned.
Well, as we were saying, it only works so long. Exactly. You know, like he was right there, right? So Rodgers was in second, Taylor was in first, and Hal, he's taken 6 positions before that. And now all of a sudden he goes for another move. Not even 10 minutes into the race, trying to take second, and now we've seen what happens. Now Hal McDonald is sitting at 14th, and he was up 7 positions, and now he's down 4 from where he started here, and has some damage. And you bet that's going to be a ticket. So it's not going to pay off for him in the long run, and he's hitting himself after that one. But that's the price you pay. That's the risk you take right there. But now that's going to give Enos and Swan a chance at the podium here, and Taylor might just run away with this one. A 5-second gap between him and any of his contenders right now, and he's got an open track in front of him.
Yeah, I was going to say, he is definitely already running away with this, managing to set a massive gap out really early on in the race here is always huge. As he passes and starts lapping some of our other drivers here, it looks like that was Jeffries that he just went by there, but he is definitely the faster, more consistent driver around this. Obviously, he had that incredible pass around P1 earlier to take the spot, and has just been running away with it ever since.
Yeah, a little bit of a danger car there. It turned around on the track as I just watched Moorhead barely pass it unscathed there. Oh no, looks like Hal McDonald has crashed again and has decided to go to the pits. Oh no, never mind. He's just went to the pits? He just drove into the pits? Okay, I saw a yellow flag for a second. I didn't know if he hit something.
Yeah, he may have just gone into the pits. I think if the driver slowed down a certain amount,
Okay.
probably.
All right. I just saw the yellow flag. I got scared that something happened again, but I think he just went into the pits to repair that damage. But yeah, he's going to go into the pits there, and yeah, that'll leave not many people battling too much on track. We got Swan and Galindo for 3rd and 4th, and we got Mofat and Lindo for 5th and 6th there, and then some more battles further down the track there, further down the scoreboard.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing some of our early runners with Taylor just running away with this right now. There usually is always one or two of these guys in division.
Well, Taylor was that one. He was in qualifying where his qualifying lap was going to be the best if he didn't run out of the field there right at the end. So Taylor being in first right now is exactly where he's want to be. He wants to be there because he has the best lap time on average over everybody. He's proved that in qualifying. So all he needs to do now is just play cool. Just don't hit any blue flags. Keep your pace, and you've got enough of a gap that you can even take it light on your tires and still be fine.
Exactly. Like Neltec popping in chat talking about Moffat's game. I did not see where he started, but
he's gained 9 positions.
Nice.
So yeah, Mofat, honestly, I mean, he's been gaining a lot of positions too. There's been a lot of drivers too up at the front who have had crashes and dropped a lot of positions, and Mofat having that consistency to be able to avoid incidents is really paying off for him. And we're seeing some people even down the line a little bit with Aoki Tamayo and Thomas Greer as well, all gaining significant amount of positions just due to being able to avoid collisions.
Yeah, absolutely, which is a huge endeavor sometimes, especially for tighter tracks like this. But speaking of Tamayo,
oh no!
Spun out in a
commentator's curse right there.
I was gonna say.
Oh, it looks like Lindo was able to pass Swan there. Over near the start of Sector 3 over there, so Lindo is now going to take P5 away from the AMG right there. Yeah, Nelhausen and Channing are very, very close as well, falling up 7th and 8th.
Hey, this is the portion of the race where we really just can stop checking up on Taylor, just running.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, yeah. We could probably do, a sponsor read, pretty soon, right? You think?
Just following along with him.
This is sponsored by Taylor, who is going to win this race. Probably. Maybe.
Exactly.
But, I mean, you never know. I mean, it's one thing to be Taylor, and it's another thing to be Hal McDonald. Because Hal, he's gonna gain so many positions in such a short amount of time that you're gonna have to watch out for him,
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like he is sitting in 27th right now. Definitely gonna be clawing his way.
Trying to the best he can there. I mean, he has pitted, so his actual position is a little bit higher there. Then again, he did spend 38 seconds in the pit. He did have about 11 seconds of damage, I'd say, and then 15 seconds total of time stopped there. So it is going to hurt him a little bit, but he might finish, in top 15 or top 10 at the end of this race here if he stays consistent. But anyways, do you want to do some sponsor reads, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely. We had someone just pop in chat and ask how many seconds Taylor is up right now. Do you see that number?
Yes, he is up 6.5 seconds.
6.5 seconds.
And it's only growing, though, because it was like 5 points something, like a couple minutes ago. So, I'm not sure. Let me take a look here at the qualifying stats. So the best lap for qualifying that Taylor had was a 37.38, and the best lap that Enos had was a 37.74. So, it's not a huge difference, but it's by a good couple tenths there. So as long as they're keeping that consistent every single lap, Taylor will be gaining even more time on Enos there.
Right, exactly, and trying to drive this track with full fuel too completely changes the way a car feels. And potential lap times. There's a difference between a driver that can drive quick on low fuel and one that's consistent on higher fuel. But it looks like we just saw a nice pass from Johnston there.
Yep,
Just kind of
Johnston on Channing there.
sliding his way around Channing. That was super smooth.
Yeah, and that as we were talking about Taylor there, that gap actually increased to 8.5 seconds there. I think Enos had a little bit of a mistake there, allowed Galindo to close to the gap to about a second now. Ooh, look at Greer over here in 10th and 11th. Just made a good pass on Moorhead over here at that one corner that with a heavy braking zone like we were talking about before. I feel like that's going to be a common area where people are going to be passing on this race.
Yeah, definitely a common passing, but also a really dangerous spot for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because of that heavy braking coming off a straight and kind of the weird corner makeup of.
Yep. Oh, and we're looking over here at 11th and 12th. Boy Blue has just passed Moorhead over here near the beginning of the race here over on turn 1. Using those BMW brakes to be able to make the pass on the inside and turn 1 there after the long straight. All right, anyways, on to some sponsors here.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to give a huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting everything that we do here at SRA, as well as support from Documize, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documize.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favorite classic systems, including Nintendo, Saga, PlayStation, and much, much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE, that's S-rate, at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way that you experience ACC. And To Go Setups, premium esports setups for everyone. Use our affiliate link on our Discord, which you should also be joining if you haven't yet. And take your drive to the next level. And of course, you know, everyone else that volunteers their time to make this sim racing league as amazing and successful as it has been. A lot of people.
Yes, we also have a sponsor of My Liveries. If you need a livery made, go to the general forum and search up my name if you need a livery for any reason. I do weird requests as well. If you want to make like a hot dog livery, I can do that for you.
Honestly, someone missed out on having the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile at some point.
I've actually had somebody come to me and they were like, hey, you need to do this. And I'm like, all right, what is this? And he's like, I had a crazy idea for, I just watched somebody gain a little bit of traction there and slide off the track. But anyways, they were saying, hey, I have this crazy idea for a livery. And I was like, okay, what is it? And he's like, all right, it's the Mercedes AMG. And then like the long part of the car is like the hot dog part. And then like the bun kind of like closes in or whatever. And then like the lettuce and like all other kind of stuff is like spewing out like in the driver's seat in the back or whatever. And I was like, that actually sounds pretty cool. And he was like, well, he's like, I already got a livery this season, but he's like, if it's not already used next season, and he's driving the AMG, he's gonna hit me up to get that made. And it sounds like a pretty unique livery if I could pull it off just right.
Absolutely, that would be a lot of fun. That's one of the great things about sim racing is the ability to express express creativity a bit more than you may in the real world, where those cars are pretty much one color and covered with as many sponsors as they can fit onto them. But kind of checking in, Taylor's still running away with first place here. Enos not, or I mean, he's a good bit behind there, but he is also staying pretty consistent in second place. Galindo is trying to catch up to him, take that spot. We have a nice little 4-car train going on, second and fifth here, just kind of vibing their way through. Checking back into it, McDonald is now 23rd. Rogers is 21st right now after their massive crash that they had earlier that bumped them way back in this.
That is unfortunate. Yeah, and looking at some of the numbers here, speculating what could be possibly happening in the future. We got Mofat actually coming in. Oh, okay, not anymore, but he did have a fastest last lap with like a 37 something, which was kind of having him gaining over Galindo there. But now his lap is just a 38.2, which is not that impressive, but still better than Galindo right there. But somebody we haven't talked about too much in a while, Olhausen, he is at the best lap of the entire session with a 37.3 right now. Even better than Taylor right now, just by a hair.
Which is definitely crazy as these drivers are running more and more fuel, and especially, we're already 23 minutes into the race. This is when tire degradation starts becoming more and more prevalent. Being able to pull times like that in a spot of the race like this is definitely something very impressive. So he's definitely going to be one of the drivers to follow along.
Especially when you're racing other people too. You got to make sure you're taking different lines, and the pressure is a lot harder to put in laps that are consistent there. And oh no, looking at you, boy Blue in 9th. He gone off the track just a little bit there, but I think he's back on. So.
Absolutely. It looks like Jeffries is not having a Fisher in 28th with honestly an amazing livery. Always sticking with her team, but that is one thing that I noticed is there's probably 2 or 3 cars out here that have the white base livery, which definitely makes them stand out among a lot of the others for whatever reason. Just really grabs your attention.
Oh yeah, the Fisher has really good liveries because she gets all of hers from Fazley. And like I was saying before, Fazley is a master at liveries, as well as me. And he designs really, really good stuff. Probably better than my stuff. But yeah, she uses a lot of his stuff as well. And I think she designs her own stuff too, but I think, aren't they like married or something?
Yes,
or
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure like artistic stuff runs in their family. You know what I mean? So like they're both really, really good. Probably better than me at all that. But they're like a package deal,
Exactly. It looks like Cumber has stopped chilling on the track there. Not very good.
Ooh.
Off to the side right before.
Probably eating a snack of some cucumbers, probably.
He must be getting that little mid-race fuel up.
Yeah, he sure is, man. I don't. Yeah, what is he waiting for? Did he disconnect? I mean, that's kind of a weird place to disconnect. Maybe his mom came into his room and he had like shut off the PC or something. And he's like, "Get out of my room, Mom! I'm playing ACC."
Exactly. It's not just a phase.
It's not just a phase. I'm telling you, this is my life.
Like Lorenzo spun out there a little bit. We have another spin out from
McKenzie.
I apologize. Yeah, I'll let you say that name. Not gonna be.
Yeah, I think. Yep, McKenzie. Yep, he's in the pit lane now. He just decided to chuck it to the pits there. The car was pretty damaged there, and yeah, that gap now, in case anybody's wondering, for Taylor is now up to 9.5 seconds.
Someone actually popped in and said his pedals stopped working.
Ooh,
Not
no.
good at all.
Well, that's what we call a car failure, hardware failure.
Exactly.
Ooh, looking at Swan here and Meyer. Meyer taking a position away from Swan right there.
It's good to see a familiar face. Meyer's the one that stole the championship for me last season. If it really was
really?
a race for it, it was still
Oh man.
a 30-point spread or something at the last race.
Oh well.
He was
Damn.
He was my competition. Glad to see he moved up to D5. He really deserved to be up there with the faster drivers.
Oh
He's
yeah,
still
I
doing
remember
these-
Swan too. I remember Swan as well.
Yeah.
From last season as well there. And oh, just as we were talking about that commentator's curse there, Meyer is now dropped down after going really wide into that turn there. And now Swan is able to gain that position back.
I think the last Rise was also with us last season. Fisher was with us last season. She was
for sure.
She was my unofficial competition throughout. We were kind of back and forth the entire time with a lot of this.
Well, there you go. You got some competition. Oh, let's take a look over here at 13th and 14th. We got Hill and Nigels fighting back and forth. They're side by side right now, going through this little weaving portion here. Let's see how they're going to be able to handle that here. Still going side by side, going into this bend here. Looks like Hill is going to be able to take the inside, and yeah, he takes the position here going into that corner there.
Not
Nigels
to mention how
gonna have to
good
reset
those Nigels and Rutherham there have both chosen their teammate, as they are right next to each other.
Yeah, they're just chilling now. They're going to have a very consistent finish. Hopefully.
Both racing the Aston, which I've seen a few drivers returning with, but definitely not as popular as it was.
Yeah, it used to be a very crowd favorite, but now everybody's using the newer cars, you know, because ACC needs to make money, so they make them better.
Exactly. Never know where that bop is gonna go. That's the way the McLaren worked out last season. You know, the drivers that took the gamble on driving the McLaren ended up getting to switch to the new one and got a crazy car.
Oh yeah.
At the last kind of half end of the season there, but what is Taylor's time looking like right now?
His best time or his average?
His gap right now, it looks like it's pretty.
Well, his gap is still floating around that 9 seconds right now. His best lap is pretty good at a 37.38, which isn't the best, but it's very close to the best right now.
Say it's a 0.03 second difference.
Yeah.
It looks like Meyer's dipping in bits. Looks like Galindo is right on the back end of Ennis there. They're kind of our P1 P2 battle now that we can keep dipping back into after Taylor just kind of ran away with it all as we close into the halfway through our race here, Mark.
Oh man, we're already halfway through. That's crazy. Well, now I'm going to start yawning because apparently I'm tired. Yeah, Galindo's trying to close that gap as much as he can there, but I mean, neither of them are able to even close anything on Taylor right now. I mean, the gap is dropping to 8 seconds, but still. Oh, Galindo! He makes the pass almost. They're going side by side here. Galindo's able to get the run into turn 2 there. And he's going to take it away from Enos. Oh, whoa, I just realized something. Am I slow to catch on to this, or are you realizing what I'm realizing right now?
No, I saw it about half an hour ago.
God fucking damn it. We're following with P. Enos. Oh my god. Oh Man, I am slow today. I am so slow today. Felipe. Of course it's a Felipe.
That is
Okay, Felipe. Oh my lord. Well, anyways, we're following with Enos over here, and he's now in P3, still on the podium, but is falling behind here from his second spot there. And yeah, I can't believe it took me so long to catch on to that.
Looks like
Yeah, I was
Rogers and McDonald are 17 and 18th right now. They're definitely making up a lot of the ground that they lost when they had that collision. They're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
really
I could
good for
definitely see him
themselves.
finishing top 10 if they really push hard.
Absolutely.
Which is not exactly what they want, but it's better than before. So I think I kind of missed this, but I guess Olhausen went to pit there. But Olhausen did fall back quite a bit there, but I think that's because he pit. So
Yeah.
and now Lindo and Johnson are both going to pit right now. They are in the pits. So it's going to put them back a little bit there, and I think Taylor's just going to try and stick it out as long as he can. He's going to pit at the very last minute. Ooh, Aoki. Kind of hit the wall there, I think, but he is back and ready to go. Aoki is a guy that I remember from a couple seasons ago as well.
He's definitely one of those names that always gets bounced around.
Yeah, I feel like his race was either really good or he was way at the back. He would always qualify pretty good and be pretty consistent, but he would always get taken out and then be at the back for the rest of the race. That's how Aoki was, but he's a really good driver. Just he gets the short end of the stick more often than not.
Exactly, and sometimes it just ends up being that, which is super unfortunate. But looks like Galindo is running away from Enos a little bit, maybe making a little bit of a gap here as we come around.
Oh man, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's almost 2 seconds now, that gap there, and Enos is definitely not. He's kind of a little shook from that pass there, and I wonder if he's got a little bit of damage too that he might be nursing as well, trying to make it as long as he can, and Kelly has to pit there. That's not helping him with his lap times.
Yeah, it absolutely could be. It's always a tough call when you start getting damage that you're having to nurse like that. As far as what you should do, whether you should take the pit or if you're not losing enough time to really make up for it.
Yeah, well, if you haven't pit already, I think you should pit as soon as you got the damage on, just to kind of get it out of the way. But if you've already pit, but I don't think Enos has, so I actually don't think he has any damage. I think his tires might just be a little bit too cooked, or he's just kind of shaken up from that pass there. But as far as looking at the last laps go, Galindo is up on him as far as the last lap for only about a second. Enos's last lap was 39, and Galindo's was around a 38.
Yeah, Galindo is definitely running away from this a little bit now, but not as much as Taylor maybe.
Yes, Taylor's gap is at 8 seconds still, in case anybody was wondering.
I'd say Taylor seems to be battling it out with some of these other drivers. He's
not battling, he's just trying to pass, Oh, Galindo! Hell, okay, no, he just went to the pits there. So now Enos is going to be, he had a yellow, they keep showing yellow flags for me whenever they go to the pits, and I get freaked out. I think they've hit the wall or something, but nope, Enos is going to he'll take P2 back momentarily, but we'll see how Galindo's pit execution is going to roll out here, and if he'll be able to keep that spot after he leaves the pit lane.
Yeah, it looks like Rogers just had a nice pass there, bumps him up to 14th. Enriquez going into the pits. Looks like Aoki's bumped up to 4th along with Moorhead. Don't think either of those drivers have pit quite yet, so we may
Now, none of the top 5 at pit right now. Some of the notable ones for that have pit that are kind of close up there. Galindo, that just pit, he's come out here. He's been stopped for 16 seconds, so he did have some damage he needed to repair there because the optimal stop is for about 4 or 5 seconds. So he did have some damage, which might put him behind Enos there, kind of depending on how Enos is going to execute. If he has any damage he needs to repair.
Right, he still did pretty good though, coming back out there in 7th place. Definitely shows the difference because we had some of these other drivers pitting and coming back, 10, 15, 20 positions behind earlier.
Well, they had a lot more damage too. If you look down the field, we got people stopping for 24, 47 seconds, 32 seconds, like a lot of damage you need to repair. That can drop you down a lot of positions there. That'll just make for more battles though, because it'll move people around a bit. So, and speaking of moving people around, we're having Swan and Olhausen now battling it out for 10th and 11th. Keep in mind that Olhausen has the best lap of the entire race with a 37.35. So I think he definitely does have the pace to pass Swan here. He just needs to be able to find an opportunity to do it.
Yeah, and it looks like we're starting to see some of these drivers dip into the slower and slower times. We were seeing some 137s earlier, but now we're seeing 138s out of the top of the field and starting to see some 140s from the rest of the pack here as we kind of go through.
The tires are definitely cooking up, and I think right now we're definitely seeing the track temperature come into play here. We have a track temperature of 30 degrees right now, which is pretty warm. So these players are going to be trying to cool down their tires while still having a lot of that, they're trying to push their car, but not push it so much that their tires are going to be overcooked and they're going to be able to be losing grip more often than not. They're going to keep that grip limit as tight as it can be while still putting down the best lap they can do.
Exactly. It becomes a finer and finer tightrope to walk as you go through. Especially as you're talking, with the tire temps being up a lot higher than they may normally be, you start really skating around on some of these corners and having these corners where you're not sure if you're going to be able to stop in time. But it looks like Lorenzo is doing a little bit of off-roading off on the side, trying to keep up his time and look for a safe spot to rejoin onto the track. He gets back on.
Nice.
Rogers now in 12th, McDonald in 14th right now. So they've made back a majority of their positions from when they crashed earlier.
Like I was saying, I think they're going to be able to break into the top 10 there, but they've got a lot of good drivers here in front of them. They're going to be a little bit harder to pass here. Rigatoni, I think, just made a pass on Channing here a couple turns ago as well, so he's going to be climbing his way back up from the back of the pack as well.
Yeah, he had a substantial crash. It looks like Channing ended up dipping out there and lost himself 2 positions.
Yep, Taylor back. He's got an 11-second gap right now. Looks like Nigel is going into the pit lane here. He's now in the pit lane, pitting and doing his stop. So majority of drivers have completed their pit requirement at this point here. It looks like Hill. Oh, sorry,
almost
go on.
Spun out and hit some other drivers there. Almost had an unsafe rejoin around the. I'm just gonna call it the spoon from now on. Turn 11 and 12. There.
I'm sure they all got names for corners, but who has time to memorize all that?
Exactly, it's the spoon.
It's a spoon.
But manages to keep that on. He dipped outside the track and kind of drifted his way back on and split a gap between 2 other drivers.
Well, that's how you do it. You play a little bit of drift, you get some drift score up there, and then you get the little boost after you start drifting. But, oh no, Swan. Looks like Swan has had a little bit of a collision there and hits the wall. He has now dropped quite a few positions there. Looks like he's dropped 4 positions down to P12. And that's going to give Olhausen, Boy Blue, Rogers, and Lindo an advantage there. It's going to put him right in front of McDonald, but I think McDonald is going to try and go for that pass early now that Swan has some of that front end damage.
Like, Moffat has not. Like, Moffat's kind of driving along right now. Looks like Aoki and Greer. Oh, Aoki and someone else.
Well, they're all the 1 through 5 are all pretty separated from each other. I think they're just passing blue flags right now.
Yeah.
But looking at the times, we got a gap between about 12 seconds between first and second, and 5 seconds between Enos and Mofat, followed by Aoki, 15 seconds behind that, and then Greer, which is about 20 seconds. You do have Greer and Galindo battling, but the front 5 are pretty spread out. And oh no, Hill. Looks like Hill has spun out as well on the spoon area, and looks like he's not going to lose a position quite yet here. He's got a lot of buffer time. Looks like just a couple blue flags past him, but that is going to hurt him as far as time goes.
It always hurts, especially this late, coming in the last 20 minutes of the race right now.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't pit, though, so his position is not even representative of what he actually is. He's trying to hold on to this P7 spot, but I think after that, he's just going to go right into the pit lane, but I don't think he did. Oh, I think, okay, he was at a point where he couldn't, I don't think, but
yeah, coming around.
He might be coming around here where he can go to the pit there. I forgot which part of the track he was on there for a second, but yeah, he's going to go into the pit there, which is probably a good play. I'm going to take a look here, looking at some of those improvements as well. Yeah, it looks like he does go into the pit lane after all there. And Greer, a really consistent race right now. He's not pit, but he is up 18 positions, which after that pit, still puts him up like, 12, 14 positions right there, and Aoki as well with 14 positions gained, and Mofat with 11 positions gained. And your boy Blue, which is in 8th right now, and he has pit, he's still gained 8 positions from qualifying. So these players, not really any accidents, just very, very consistent, which is also going to help their pit time be very, very small, which will put them higher up.
Yeah, it's always definitely very interesting to see as some of these drivers end up pitting, where they end up. Obviously I think Taylor is gonna still run away with his lead here.
Oh yeah, I think he's getting
stay in front, but it looks like Barrage dipped off track and was backwards looking for a place to hop back on again. Looks like McDonald finally gets around Swan. Looks like he was bit aggressive and pushes Swan off, just kind of squeezes them off the track there.
Ooh. Yeah, Mahal is now in 11th there, and yeah, like I was saying, I mean, he's definitely going to push into P10 as long as he doesn't, make another incident for himself, but we'll see how much he's going to be able to push in, because as he gets closer and closer to the top, it's going to be harder and harder for him to push into those more skilled drivers there. Right now in front of him, he's got Lindo, which has got a good gap. He's got a 4-second gap, so he's going to have to close that pretty quick. And according to his last lap, he's not going to outpace Lindo right now, but it could go either way, because he's a very aggressive driver, so he might just be pushing as much as he can in his last couple minutes here. Oh, it looks like Rogers here is going to give the position up to Lindo for 9th and 10th right there, as we were talking about him.
Rogers actually got tapped a little bit there from a car coming out of pits, went a little sideways there and ended up giving the position up to Lindo. But I was just about to say, it's definitely going to slow some of these drivers down. We had a 4-car train going on in here right now. And always when you're driving in a train with multiple other drivers, if it's just one, it may speed you guys up, but generally speaking, if there's 3, 4 of you in a pack, it's going to slow you down a significant amount as you're trying to make sure you're braking in time for those other drivers ahead of you.
Yeah, it's tough, and honestly, the pit lane too, coming out of the pit lane on this track, it's hard because you're kind of right there on the racing line on the apex, so you really got to be careful, and when you're going around there, because I remember it correctly in qualifying, if you're coming out of the pit lane, you got to watch out for people on the qualifying. But if you're racing, you got to watch out for people coming out of the pit lane if you're on the track.
Right.
So it's kind of flipped there. So you got to be really, really careful because they come out right there on the apex, and if you're not paying attention, you could easily get clipped. So
Definitely a tough spot. Looks like Galindo drops off track a little bit there. Looks like Aoki ends up taking his pit. We'll see how many positions he drops back, pushing Rogers back up. And McDonald are both 10 and better setting right now. See how they end up doing. They have definitely had an incredible gain during the race there, despite the fact that they had such a big wreck pretty early on.
yeah. Oh, and looking too, I don't know if you paid attention to this, but with Moorhead, he's taken a pit. However, he has not fulfilled his pit requirement. So I do not think he's taken a liter of fuel as required.
Which is really unfortunate. It's almost
Yeah,
wonder if
he needs to take a liter of fuel, otherwise he's going to get disqualified.
Right.
I'm not sure if am I allowed to use the chat to message. I mean, people get distracted, so I won't do that, but he needs to realize that he needs to fulfill that pit requirement still and get that liter of fuel.
It's one of those things that that does show up on the heads-up display generally. I'm not sure if it warns you, but we are 12 minutes left in the race right now. We'll see if he's able to remember that before the end or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to put a message in there because I'll have people messaging me saying, hey, you distracted my driving, made me crash. So I'm not going to do that, but yeah,
sometimes those are one of those lessons that you really have to learn the hard way, you know?
Yeah, you got to learn the hard way. You know, I don't want to, you know, distract anybody from their driving. I don't think they're in the Discord at all either. I'm going to try and look around for them, see if I can just pop in and be like, hey, man, make sure you pit.
Yep, unfortunate
I don't see them at all.
Gotta make sure that you're checking those boxes when you go in. Generally, what I'll try to do is do it before I start. You know, in that 30-second gap between starting there when you're waiting to go is a good time to check your pit strategy. Make sure that you've turned off tires, turned off you know, all your damages, so you don't actually take that going into the pits unless you absolutely want to.
Yeah, just getting that one liter, because you know sometimes people forget the 1 liter, and that'll really get you. But yeah, looking here, yeah, that gap between okay, well Mofat has pits, so that's kind of why that gap is a little bit bigger. But Greer, Enos, and Taylor are the only people who haven't pit, but Moorhead still, like we were saying, he's in 15th, but he has not completed his pit requirement. But as far as the front of the pack goes, Greer, Enos, and Taylor have not fulfilled their pit requirement either.
Definitely going to be interesting to see the last couple of toss-ups here. If the previous seasons have been any indicator, some of those top guys will wait till the absolute last second to go out there and actually grab that liter of fuel, really just push it as far as they possibly can and just finish the race. So we'll see what these guys end up deciding.
Yeah, I think they're just going to try and go as long as they can without pitting the pin at the very, very end. But I do think that right now, unless he makes a huge mistake, Taylor will be able to take the top spot here, and everybody is pretty solid here. In Enos and Mofat, they might be a little bit close because Mofat has pit, but Enos hasn't pit. And looking at a lot of these pit times, they're, you know, around 30 to 40 seconds, and that kind of is the gap between Enos and Mofat right now. So depending on how well Enos is going to be able to do his pit stop here, it's really going to decide whether he takes second or third in this race. Or even fourth, because Greer is a couple seconds behind Mofat as well. So Enos might be looking pretty comfortable right now, but if his pit goes wrong, you know, that could be bad for him. Oh, but
like
Greer is going to go, yep.
Gave a spot to Galindo there, popping up. Looks like Rigatoni just slid past McDonald there. Rogers is still in 9th place. I'm kind of trying to catch up after he got spun just a little bit there.
Yep. Yeah, we did see Hal break in. Oh, it looks like Hal just gained that spot back on Rigatoni there, not wanting to give that up so easily.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a three-car battle there between the three
Yeah.
of them, going real back and forth between the
Ooh, looks
Mercedes
like
and the McLaren
went a
there.
little bit off the track there. He's
Yeah,
back on there.
Rigatoni dropped off, gave that to Enriquez, who's now chasing up towards McDonald there. We'll see it does. Looks like Rigatoni was thinking about trying a little bit of a dive there around turn one, but decides to slap back in and take his spot.
Yep. It looks like Greer here has completed his pit now, but that puts him into 14th right there. Enos and
Definitely.
Taylor just have not completed their pit quite yet.
Say those two drivers, it's a little bit of a toss-up. I feel like Enos is probably going to lose a position, but I think Taylor is going to hold on to his lead that he's created throughout this.
That's what I'm thinking too. And honestly, I kind of called that in the beginning, saying I was like, I wonder if Taylor is just gonna. Oh no, that wasn't even Taylor, was it? It was the other guy, right?
Yeah, before he got.
Yeah, who was the guy that was qualified in first?
That was Rogers.
Was it Rogers? It was Rogers. Yeah, so I predicted Rogers to run away with it, but Taylor was P3 in qualifying, and he was the guy, like we were saying, that was qualified better than everybody else, but he was able to just run away with it once he got in first, which, honestly, after seeing those times of qualifying, that's probably what was to be expected.
Yeah, it looks like Fisher ended up sideways on the final straight there. She's gonna pop back on and keep going. It's definitely the rough parts about the last 10 minutes of the race here. It's when we can really start seeing some of these big mistakes come into fruition, especially with the tires being as low as they are. You know, you've been driving for a while now. It can definitely weigh down on you a little bit.
Yeah, the track is not getting any cooler here, and the tire temperature and the tire wear are definitely going to be showing here, and the times are not getting better. Let's just say that.
Yep, it looks like Taylor dipped in and took his pit. That leaves Enos as the
leader for now.
Yep, the last one, which I'm sure will change. He has to pit in the next 6 minutes in order to qualify. I'm sure he'll do that within the next lap or two, but we'll see how much Taylor loses, whether he's going to lose that next position. Looks like he is already.
Looks like Taylor stopped for 11 seconds, which it's not perfect stop, but it's not horribly bad, and it's not enough for Enos to gain anything from that.
Exactly. And not enough for Moffat there to catch up to him completely. Definitely close that gap just a little bit, but it is still a pretty significant gap between second and third place there.
I still think Moffat and Enos are still going to fight, though. I mean, I think that P2 is still up in the air.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As soon as Enos takes his pit here, hopefully before too long, you know, pit window is only open for 5 minutes, so if he really wanted to, he could probably squeak out 2 laps coming into it. But that's really pushing it a lot closer than I personally would like to be. It looks like Enriquez is trying to make a little bit of a move on Channing there.
I think Channing just actually made a move on or they're both side by side right now, just fighting for that position. I think Channing has the upper hand here, but Enriquez leaks in the inside on that turn there. Still going side by side here through these curves. And that's allowing Greer to kind of gain a little bit of an advantage there.
Looks like Enriquez barely slots ahead.
Barely squeaks out. Crazy battle right there. Yeah, that allowed Greer to catch up a lot there, and now he's in the battle as well.
Yeah, that is the greatest thing about being the third person in a two-person battle. There's sometimes you really can sneak ahead. It looks like they are not giving up that position right now. It looks like Channing is trying to move his way back up, but Enos actually dropped.
There it is. Yep. Enos is now out of the pits, and as we were saying, Moffat was able to undercut him. And looking at the times here, Mofat was in the pits 2 seconds less than Enos was. And I think that's what gave him the advantage there, because right now... Oh, whoa, what happened there for a second? Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, but now Enos is behind by a second. So those 2 seconds in the pits allowed Mofat to gain that position on Enos.
Yeah, it looks like just as we were talking, Greer, who was a part of that kind of 3-car battle there, it looks like he had a little incident and dipped off track. He is now a little further back as we come into the last.
Yeah, but he's
break
fighting with
here.
Swan right now. Oh, a little bit of a battle going on there. Swan, yep, side by side, a little bit of bumpage there. But looks like Greer's, or sorry, Swan is really nursing some damage. He's trying to play it easy there. Or maybe just nursing those tires right now. Really, really close train right there. Greer was able to come on top on that. Oh, looking at the top here, we got Rogers just past your boy Blue over here for P7.
It's like he is not going to give that up easy, though. He is right on Rogers' tail, trying to take some of the insides of these corners to catch up. We'll see. It definitely.
Yeah,
seems
he's in
like
a
Rogers has
BMW.
been very consistent throughout a lot of this too, and may just be able to pull ahead. He was one of the earlier adopters of the Lamborghini last season when it came out. He was one of the ones that drove it. So he's
Yeah,
actually
and he was our
returning
P1
this
qualifier too. So. Oh,
looks like
Hal McDonald off the track. That's oh no. He's still in 10th though, so like I said, I still think he can finish top 10.
Yeah, we'll see if Channing here is able to pull up and,
Yeah.
and catch him here. But it looks
He's a
like
1 second behind, but I think Hal might have some damage now. So he's going to have to try and deal with that here in the last couple laps of the race here.
Yeah, it looks like Tony managed to gain out of that and gained that position right past McDonald there. But last 2 minutes and 23 seconds of the race, it looks like Taylor is number 1 still. Big surprise throughout there. Moffat is number 2 and Enos is number 3 as our top 3 finishers right now.
Yeah, and yeah, Moffat is the one who's gained the most positions. He's gained 12 positions. He qualified 14th and now is in 2nd there. And the whole reason is he's never been in any accident.
Yeah, that really.
He's been able to be super consistent. He's never been in any incident here, and his best times are 37.6. He's just been nailing consistent times throughout the whole race. So that's able to net him a net gain of so many positions.
Definitely awesome to see. It really goes to show that that being consistent really pays off throughout these races. And is really what can push you ahead. You know, you may not be the fastest start, you may not have a great start, but being consistent like that will push you up so many positions and into second, like we've seen him do.
Or you just take out the sandbags for the race, you know?
Exactly.
So like that, but yeah, it looks like Moorhead has still not realized he's not fulfilled the pit requirement. And the pit window is going to close here. Oh, they changed it to just a minute now. It closes with just a minute. It used to be 2.5 minutes, but they've changed it this season. But yeah, it looks like Moorhead is going to be taking the penalty there for not fulfilling the pit requirement, which is unfortunate. The pit window is now closed. Just a minute left in the race. A couple laps to go here.
Not a ton you can do with it. It looks like we may have a little bit of a last-second battle potentially here going on between Olhausen and Rogers. Rogers desperately trying to catch up to maybe squeeze out that last little
Yeah, but
position.
ooh, just right behind them, your boy Blue and Rigatoni are even closer together right now. They were really close for a second there, too.
Yeah, it looks like that Mercedes is hunting down the BMW.
Oh, big crash right over here when 15th and 16th with Swan Aoki. 4 cars turned sitting on the track there. Oh no, trying to gain back on right there. Trying their best. Oh no. They're all spinning around. Oh no, it's a disaster. Dropping multiple positions.
Like
that's not what you want to see right there.
Spun out a couple of turns ahead there and was parked in the middle of the road. Seeing a lot of last second changes here. A lot of damage on the final lap. Just crazy.
Colossal damage on the final lap there, and you know those players are just really angry with that because they were almost done. If that game finished just a little bit sooner, that wouldn't have happened to them, but it did, and now they're going to have to deal with that. At least they don't have to repair that damage as the laps are coming to a close here. Let's just see how well they can pull it across the track, limp it across the track with the damage they got here. And it looks like Rogers is going to make the move on Olhausen here further up. Enos still following behind Mofat for second as well.
Yeah, as we're coming really around the last couple of turns in this race here, too. Taylor coming around the last 2 turns of this race, getting ready to round us out for race 1 of season 8. Definitely a lot of carnage this race. But we've also seen a ton of real good passes throughout, a lot of good driving put out here. You know, definitely seemed like the strategy was to not get hit. But Taylor coming out number 1 in this race. It looks like Moffat's finishing second here. Enos coming right behind him in third as our top 3 finishers. So.
Yep. Yeah, as you were saying, Taylor just taking it away there, and then Mofat was able to do the undercut in the pits there, take Enos out of the second spot. Lindo and your boy Blue following it up right there. Or sorry, Lindo, your boy Blue went into the pits.
Yeah, it looks like he spun out there last second and dipped off. Ended up having to go back to pits, but Rogers taking 6th place now.
That's unfortunate because he didn't finish the race.
Yep, Rigatoni and
so he's dropping all those positions. That's unfortunate. Yeah, Rigatoni 7th though. That's good though. After what happened to him earlier, 7th is not bad.
Yeah, he managed.
And same with Rogers too. Same with Rogers as well. I would not cry over 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
Nolhausen 8th, Al McDonald 9th.
Lots of great races. It looks like Rigatoni was able to just pass Olhausen there up in the end.
Yep.
Johnson crossing the line, Aoki crossing in 15th at the end there. Like Simon Barnes coming across. The last drives are having all of our drivers finish here as we have our last couple, but that is it for race 1.
Yeah. That was a good race. Some good battles, a lot of carnage as well.
Definitely
I think a lot of that just came down to the pitting skill as well, just trying to get that pit lane execution as best as you can here. And I'm going to look through the Discord, see if there's anybody who's in the chat that pull up for an interview. And honestly, I don't really see anybody that was in our race that was finishing first or anything like that.
Well, it looks like Taylor is sitting in.
Oh, there he is. You are right. I didn't see that for some reason, but you can pull him up. Do you need to do it, or do you want me to do it?
I want you to do it.
All right, which channel are we in?
We are in commentators.
All right, I'm gonna pull him up here. Dakota Taylor, okay. Hello, Dakota.
Yeah.
You are in the commentators booth.
Awesome.
We just want to give you a little interview.
Yeah.
So how you feeling after that race? I know must have been pretty lonely for you.
Yeah. It feels great. I had really good pace for the whole race and kind of snuck away at the beginning there and held that lead. And yeah, I had fun. Even though I was up, it was a little lonely, but I had fun. So.
Right on. Well, is there anything you did? Any sandbags or driver secrets you want to share with the viewers here about how you were able to pull it away so clean and avoid incidents and just be so consistent on the track?
Yeah, the teammate Jay Rogers, he got pole, and we were able to kind of pull away right at the beginning. I was able to pass P2 because I got third, qualified third, and we were talking a little bit, and I think lap 3 or 4, we decided that we were going to swap because I think my pace was a little bit quicker, and I got ahead, and just kind of, I don't know, just kind of drove away. I was trying to make sure that I was managing my tires. After a couple of laps, 5-6 second gap, I was just all I was doing was managing the tires at that point, just making sure they were staying cool and not going too hard. So
Yeah. Well, that's some good insight right there, and good teamwork with your teammate as well to kind of realize what you needed to do in that situation for the best outcome, and ended up working out for you. I think your teammate was kind of taken out by another driver, but was kind of able. Yeah, was able to make their way back up.
Okay, I know he said that something had happened, but he wasn't 100% sure if it was his fault or somebody else's or what had happened. But I know he had a good recovery drive too. I think he got back up to like P7.
I think it was it was P6 or P7.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened either. I didn't catch it in the moment. We'll kind of leave that up to the stewards later.
Yeah.
But he was able to make it back with a lot of the other drivers who were kind of up there qualifying in the top area. But Caden, do you got any questions or anything you want to say to Taylor over here?
No, great racing. I look forward to keeping along with you. I mean, if you keep driving like this, there's definitely a promotion in the works in the future. If you keep running away from these other drivers like you had. So great racing. I look forward to watching you next week.
Well, appreciate it. I'm looking forward to next week, and hopefully have another great race.
Yeah, load up the sandbags, but otherwise you're going to D4. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna move you back, or you can just go back to our chat.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See you, man. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Well, you heard it here first from our winner here. Some good teamwork with his teammate, and just pulling it away. Who is our second place? Is he in here? Is it? I know. I see Enos. I do not see your second place. Yeah. Is there anybody else you want to pull in? I mean, we got the winner, so that's good.
I was gonna say for this week, definitely a lot of people to watch out for going into next week.
Yeah,
a lot of really good driving. But I honestly, I think that's gonna wrap us up for week one here.
Yeah.
As always, thanks to everyone that makes this happen. It's definitely becoming more and more busy as this league grows, but it's still incredible to see the amount of participation, and still so much fun to follow along and be a part of this community and continue to race with SRA. So with that being said, you got any closing remarks, Jerry?
No, man, it's good to be with you and commentate with you the first time here in season 8. I've been commentating with Rafael and Selena, and I think they're over in some other divisions covering where they can, but I'm excited to kind of be back commentating D5 because that's my hometown too, and there's a lot of players that I recognize and I raced with too when I did more of that racing stuff. But nowadays I'm dabbling with other games and D&D and work, and right now we're down guys and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna kind of take it easy, not stress too much about it, commentate and steward where I can, but it's good to kind of be back in the D5 land again. So
yeah, absolutely. Always good to go back to your roots every once in a while. But with that being said, look forward to seeing you guys next week, and everyone have a great day or evening into tomorrow. So good luck on anyone who may be racing tomorrow. But y'all have a good one.
Peace out.
It has been the longest off-season of SRA. The rust has been wiped off and the cars are revved up and ready to go. Welcome to SRA.
We're off and away for SRA.